After roughly 13 pubescent years of torturous experience with girls, I was at my wit's end. I was by no means a failure with women, but for all the success I had with them, it was not worth the price in terms of pain, agony, drama, and general bullshit I had to endure. Girls standing me up. Girls screaming on the interstate because I didn't buy them a soda. Girls being an hour late. Girls buck naked in my bed, but then refusing to sleep with me. Nearly every unimaginable thing that could happen with girls happened to me, and I could not for the life of me explain it. Was it bad luck? Was I looking in the wrong places? Or perhaps my mother was right, I just attracted the wrong type of girl. But then something happened. My brain started to permit itself to ask a question I had been wanting to ask, but it was so outlandish and statistically impossible I refused to. What if the problem wasn't me, but the rest of society? Understand why this is an incredibly arrogant question to ask. You are essentially saying there's nothing wrong with you, the one individual, but rather the remaining 150 million women in the country. Naturally, you can see why such thinking would be debunked. Statistically speaking, it has to be you. You have to be the one with the problem, because what are the chances everybody else is wrong? On top of it, it's incredibly arrogant. What kind of individual has the hubris to blame his individual problems on the rest of society? But as mentioned before, I was at my wit's end. I did everything right, did what everybody told me to do. And not just that, but tweaked and tried every possible permutation and variation in my tactics. Every variable of every one of my strategies was deployed, only to come back with either miserable failure or yet another floozy that had daddy issues. I had so thoroughly exhausted every option and strategy, the only explanation left was there was something wrong with society. And so, for just this once, I would permit myself to think there was something wrong with society and not me. I have never gone back. Upon having the bravado to ask the forbidden question of, is it society that has the problem and not me, the reality of the world became very apparent. There was indeed something wrong with society and not the individual. Girls and boys had become political pawns of politicians, professors, teachers, media moguls, fashionistas, and others, thus ruining both for each other. Girls didn't like sensitive, caring 90s men. They liked strong, brutish men, as they always had. And boys didn't like nose-pierced, independent women on the cutting edge of grunge fashion with advanced liberal arts degrees. But girls with big boobs, nice legs, and an agreeable demeanor, as they always had. It wouldn't matter how many stupid poems I'd write for that cute girl working at the coffee store, I was flooding her with too much attention, and thus driving the market value of my attention down. It wouldn't matter how many times I'd ask her out in a witty manner. PowerPoint presentation, it was clever. I already asked her out too many times, and it was never going to happen. I should become aloof, hit the gym, follow the Tao of Steve, and if that didn't get a girl, to hell with her, there are others. The results were a rough tripling of my success. I scored more numbers, scored more dates, got laid more, and never tolerated a temper tantrum on the interstate ever again. But arguably an even greater benefit was the clairvoyance that came with this epiphany. It was like going from a trench in World War I, getting the absolute shit shelled out of you, having no clue what was going on around you, to a satellite command center with a detailed and precise bird's eye view of exactly what was going on in that battlefield. There was also the elation that, no, I wasn't insane, and that I would never be confused like I was in my teens and 20s ever again. I had finally figured it out. What many male internet philosophers call this experience is taking the red pill. It is a reference to the movie The Matrix, where Neo chooses to take the red pill, which shows him what the real world truly is. And it is an experience every young man needs to go through if he is to be successful with women. The reason is simple. Basing decisions in reality will prove more successful than basing them in lies, falsehoods, and propaganda. The problem is society has lied to men and women about reality. They've convinced men that women like sensitive men who write poems just as much as football players with their dad's BMW. And they've convinced women that big is beautiful and men value educated women. But making matters worse, society shames you and punishes you, dare you think outside the box or adhere to reality. A woman who admits her biological desire to just be a stay-at-home mom is eviscerated by feminists and liberals. And a man who dares to date multiple women and avoid marriage is considered an enemy of the state. Thus, it does take a significant amount of courage, independent thinking, even risk to swallow the red pill. But once you do, you will have more success in life. There is, however, a problem. The red pill can be abused by men who are intellectually dishonest and just wish to find an excuse for their poor performance with the ladies. If you're a fat ass living in your mom's basement at 32, playing World of Warcraft, and offer absolutely nothing of value to the ladies, then the temptation to just say, "All women are fucked up, screw 'em, they don't deserve a guy like me," is just too great. You are no different than the deluded feminist pushing for fat acceptance. But, if you are in shape, decent looking, have your act together, and still don't understand why she stormed out of the restaurant after you ordered the veal, then an intellectually honest consumption of the red pill is needed. Ultimately, what the red pill is nothing more than allowing yourself to have self-respect and sanity. If you did everything right, are physically attractive to women, and improved yourself to the point there is no real reason or excuse for a girl to turn a guy like you down, then you have eliminated yourself as a potential reason for your failure. The red pill then allows you to forgive yourself and focus your efforts and strategies on where the real problems lie: society.